Over the summer, I went on a 2-week service trip to Zambia with an organization called Communities Without Borders. And we went with the primary purpose to support the education of orphans and vulnerable children. And at the end of the day, we would all tell a short story or anecdote that we really wanted to share with the rest of the group. And as I was walking around with my camera, I was filming all the projects that we were doing and everything that we were doing in the classrooms and everything that we were seeing, but it wasn't really a coherent story to me, and I was trying to figure out the whole time, well, what is the story? What am I trying to say? And one night at dinner, I realized, why don't I tell the story of all of these anecdotes that people are sharing? Because that's what really, I felt, spoke to the nature of the trip. Everybody had their own small little journey within this bigger trip, and I knew that's what I wanted to tell with my video. So some people on the trip volunteered to share one of their anecdotes. That's what this video is about.
I really just wanted to talk about the first day when I got here. We went to the Fountain of Hope, and the Fountain of Hope is a nonprofit organization that reaches out to boys of really different ages that are living on the streets, tries to give them a home, a place that they can call their own, and really just tries to change their lives for the better. And eventually the boys started questioning us, who we were, what we were about, and one of the volunteers said, you know, our name is Communities Without Borders, and the meaning behind our name is that, yes, we're one group and you're another group, but there is no line of division between us, or there at least should not be a line of division between us. Ultimately, we're just all one larger community. And then one of the boys turned around and was like, well, if you say it this way, then why is it that there's those other peoples out there, whatever skin color they may be, that look at us differently, that treat us differently? And really none of the volunteers on our side had anything to say, because what can you say at that point?
One of my favorite things to do is teach at CWB, which is one of the compounds that my church supports. And last year I met this little guy, Fred. He was really quiet and didn't really like to participate. And this year when I met him, he was a completely different person. He was more outgoing, he likes to talk, he just wants to soak up everything that you teach him.
This morning, I was on my way out the door when one of the maids that works here walked in, and at first I was sort of taken aback, but we sort of struck up this really nice conversation, and we were talking about sort of what we did here and the weather, and it just sort of showed how open people are here and how friendly and just really welcoming and easy to talk to.
At the health screening, I was on child wrangling duty. I ended up speaking with a graduate from the CWB program. He was 22 years old. We talked about sports, politics, his schooling, the subjects he likes. The entire time that we were talking, 6-year-old boy named Miracle was holding my hand. So it was about 40 minutes. It was strange because in the US, if you meet a random 6-year-old on the street, they don't open up enough to just stand there and hold your hands without you really interacting with them. And I thought that was very interesting how it reflected the open nature of the culture that I experienced in Zambia.
I spent a day at the University Teaching Hospital in Lusaka. I saw doctors taking care of an incredible variety of patients, much sicker than we see in my office practice back in the States, and doing incredible work taking care of them with very little supply compared to what we are able to enjoy in high-tech medicine in the U.S. I hope I remember I needed to stay uncomfortable a bit and remember what life is really like for the people behind some of the more inspiring and happy things that we saw, that there's still real hardship here. I hope to stay inspired in my work going forward.
I want to tell you a little bit about my first day here in Lusaka. I came out here to the pool to do a little bit of reading. There were kids in the background playing soccer, and so I could hear the yells throughout my reading. And suddenly the yells started changing, and I realized that they were in English. They were yelling to me, actually. They were yelling, "Good afternoon," and "Bye," and "How are you?" They only had these 3 phrases that they could communicate with, but they were just so excited to be communicating with someone in this foreign language that they had learned. We can still communicate despite both the language barriers and the physical barriers.
In the kingdom.